Okay.
Okay.
How confident is the JFF? And will there be an agreement with the players before the Gold Cup?
I'm telling you that even don't worry about all of those blusters that you're seeing on YouTube.
Yes.
We're still negotiating, and we have never been so close as we are now. This is the closest we have ever been, even closer than the time when I said we were close. We are even closer now. Okay, so we're still negotiating behind the scenes, and because both the JFF and the players want a resolution.
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle.
Greetings, sports fans, and welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle, the channel of undiluted sports content. We see that you have been watching and liking our videos, and we want to let you know that if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, just click the subscribe button right now and hit that notification bell so you can continue getting the latest happenings in sports. If your subscribe button is still red, that means you have not yet subscribed, so hit that subscribe button and let us get into it. Today we have a very special person with us in studio. We have none other than Mr. Rudolph Speid.
Yes, man, the big man.
Thank you, Mr. Speid, for accepting our call. We want to thank you for joining us today. All right, so we'll be getting into the questions. Firstly, how are you doing, Mr. Speid? And thank you for joining us today on Sports Down the Middle.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and we must express our sincere condolences to your family, and we hope that you go through this trying time with. We hope that you just go through this trying time smoothly, and it's always a tough time when you experience loss, and we encourage that just stay strong and continue to doing your good work.
Well, thank you for those kind words. Yes, we try to remain strong for the weaker persons. So it's a trade-off. Thank you again.
You're welcome, sir. Can you give us a timeline for the negotiation so far from day one to now?
Well, we started negotiating from summer last year. I can't remember the exact date, if it's June or July, but it was definitely from summer. And we were really trying our best to close it because the coach had requested that we try to close before the end of the year. So we were really trying our best, but for one reason or another, it never, ever worked out. We had about 5 meetings straight, and then the meeting got more infrequent and it just never worked out. Mainly, some of the times players, personnel were available, mostly on the player side, and that's what happened.
Okay, Mr. Speid. All right. If you've been watching our channel, right, we talked to a couple of the ballers, and they're saying it's not about money. Yeah, it's about other things being dealt with. Now, can you explain that? What is the other things that are being dealt with?
Well, from last summer, I am a person that negotiates a lot of deals, right? So they had said that from last summer, and I had asked them for a list in writing of what those things were, because they said it's about things. And the first time I'm seeing anything in writing is just a couple of days ago, that press release that asks for 2 specific items: corporate governance and physio, extra physio, and an extra equipment manager. If they had asked for those things up front when they were making their counter proposal, if those things were there, those would have been solved a long time ago. I want people to understand that I'm the chairman of the technical and development committee. I understand football. I run 2 Premier League clubs, 2 are the best in the country, both male and female. So the physio is a reasonable ask. Nobody in my position would have said no if you ask me for another physio. And as a matter of fact, on the trip to Saudi Arabia, we sent 2 physical trainers because one doubled up as physio. So that is a reasonable ask. If that was put on the table, that would have been solved a long time ago.
Okay, thanks. So how come Tapa was complaining about a trainer, a physical trainer on the trip to Austria to play against the USA?
So physical trainer, as you know, is not our problem. We had 2 on the trip to Saudi Arabia, 2 physical trainers. What happened is that we're not playing any football at this particular point in time. The physical trainer and the general secretary are in negotiations about salaries, and they just couldn't come to any agreements. So the physical trainer decided that they're not making the trip. Well, at least one. At the same time, when we heard that they had a problem, it wasn't a big deal. We sourced another physical trainer, and that physical trainer made the trip. So it's not because we don't have physical trainer 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a lot of physical trainers in Jamaica. You have all the Premier League clubs has a physical trainer. So it's just a matter of timing when we realized what was happening. We had to hustle, but we did get one, and the person made the trip. So those, I wouldn't think those are big issues. We had Jerome Wade, who is a assistant coach. He's also who is the assistant coach, who is as you know, is a track coach, and he's good at physical training too. So I didn't think that was a big problem, to be honest.
So is it reasonable to have one physical trainer for 22 footballers?
Yes, physical trainer is different from a physio. I understand that a physio will probably takes half an hour to deal with a player. So if you have 20 players, then I understand that, yeah, you need another physio because you could be waiting 7 hours before it's your turn. But a physical trainer can just bring all the players through them paces one in a group. It's not a big issue. So that's not an issue, no.
All right, Mr. Speid. In a recent Bina article quoted, you said that everyone knew the players were offered 10K US, right? We at Sports always heard it was 7K.
Not offered. The players asked for 7,000 US. Asked.
Okay.
I did not say 10. I don't make mistakes with figures. I'm a chartered accountant. The reporter,
Yes, you are.
I said 7. I said 7. I don't make mistake with figures. That's his zero, not mine.
All right, then. Okay. How confident is the JFF, and will there be an agreement with the players before the World
Cup? I'm telling you that even don't worry about all of those blusters that you're seeing on YouTube.
Yes.
We're still negotiating, and we have never been so close as we are now. This is the closest we have ever been, even closer than the time when I said we were close. We are even closer now. Okay, so we're still negotiating behind the scenes, and because both the JFF and the players want a resolution. I saw there was a lot of inaccuracies in what they sent out a couple of days ago, because what they did was put their best offer on the table against our worst. They did not put their worst offer against our worst. They put their best offer against ours. So, but I thought there was a lot of positives in that article because they actually wanted to negotiate, and we want to negotiate. We don't have any issue negotiating. We are just sticking to what we said from the first day. Players, we can't afford those rates. Players, what we're giving you is competitive to what the best the world has to pay. So we, and this is our offer. We are putting on a budget, and we have stuck to that even now. And we have said also, we are willing to talk about bonuses, but the problem that we're having is if we fix the fee and pay it to you, you could lose every single game. And when the end of the qualifiers, then we will be stuck with a deficit, which we can't fund, because we already inherit a deficit from the previous administration. That has been our argument from the start, and that is still our argument here. Remember, Jamaica has not gone to any World Cup since 1998. Remember that 2002 team that went to 98 World Cup and then came back even better? They still didn't go back to the World Cup. So there's no guarantee. And all we are saying, listen, if you carry us to the World Cup, we have money, because we get money to go to the World Cup and we'll pay you some of that. And that has been our case ever since.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Hold on,
What-
Mr. Speed. We see
Hold
that.
on, Tigat. Hold on.
Go
You
ahead.
missed
Go
a
ahead.
question. What could you fill us in on the offer that the JFF made, where Nations League, World Cup, and friendlies are concerned? And do you have documents?
Well, even this morning, we agree on a document not to disclose the figures that we eventually decide on. So I really don't want to go through the numbers because we have never given the numbers to anyone. That's the JFF. We make sure that those numbers don't come from us. We have never put out our numbers in public. It is after we are presented with the numbers, we would make comments on it. So we did agree yesterday that we're not giving out details on the numbers. All I can say, because the players have asked us not to, because they said that, you know, is when they come to Jamaica, people say, oh, you just get this, or you just get that, you must give me something like that. So we're compliant to that request. So I don't want to give you any numbers, specific numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
except to say their last offer that they made to us. Say on the World Cup qualifiers, for instance, we're in agreement with three of the four numbers that is presented on from both sides. Both sides are in agreement with three. That is how close we are, just to give you an idea.
Okay, good stuff.
So remember, you have the appearance fee, you have the bonus, you have the draw fee, bonus for win, bonus for draw, per diem. And out of all those four things, we are in agreement with three.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. All right, Mr. Speed. All right. Does your position compromise your role as a part of the negotiation team?
So let me tell you what I do.
All right.
My committee recommends to the board. My committee doesn't make decisions. So I recommend to the board. I don't have a vote on the board. Then the 18 persons who is on the board decide. So I can't do anything at all unless those people say yes. And that is why, so even for the negotiations, the board agree on a parameter, and we have to stay with it because we work for the board. So there's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no conflict.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, you see, let me just rephrase. Most people talk conflict is almost in every single thing. Conflict has to be managed. And this is one of the way we manage our conflict. If there's even a perceived conflict, as you said, there might be a perceived conflict, but this is how we manage it. I don't have a vote. I just recommend.
Okay. With regards to sponsorship, because we're aware that the current sponsorship deal is expiring, does the Reggae Boyz or the Reggae Girls currently have a sponsor lined up? And where can we see some of the sponsors?
Well, we haven't been idle. There are negotiations ongoing with sponsors. It's just that I can't tell you. We have to be signed nowadays. You have to sign these NDA clause, non-disclosure. And we have signed a lot of them recently. Whether some of them pan out or not, I just can't disclose what they are because the persons distinctively ask us not.
Okay.
So that is coming. There's some sponsorship coming. Big ones, I think, too.
Okay, that sounds good. The other day we went on jfflive.com to seek some information with regards to JFF financial records. But the latest financials you could find is in 2018. Where can we access the current financials of the JFF?
Well,
why isn't it being made public?
I'm happy that you asked that question because there's a lot of misinformation in the public. We gave all the players, every single players in the pool, the 2019 audited financial statement of the JFF. We gave them also the budget for the World Cup qualifying come up. We gave them the profit and loss for the Saudi Arabia game. We gave them the profit and loss for the game, for the last CONCACAF World Cup. We showed them what their if we did what they asked, what it would cost, and what it would cost if we paid what we are proposing. So when it comes to transparency for this set of negotiation, and I said to them personally, if you want any more information, just ask for it. So when it comes to transparency for this set of negotiation, it has never ever been better. So as I'm saying to you, there's a lot of bluff and people not understand what is going on, but they have all of those information. Now, 2020 is due. Well, at the end of, well, it was probably due at the end of March, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's ready yet, but we can't disclose unaudited accounts, right? I'll never, we just can't disclose unaudited accounts. But even if you go on the FIFA website, you could find it, our accounts is there. JFF accounts is there.
We went on the FIFA website, but we're not finding the information as how it should be. We like get a one sheet, but we're not getting the entire audited documents.
Well, if you get the sheet, I'm sure you get the statement of financial position, which is a camera shot of where we are at the end of 2019. Most, I don't know if he's the accountant, but most good accounts people could understand exactly what it is saying from just that one sheet, if you look at. But I don't know, you probably want cash flows and everything. You could get it. It's not a secret. So just send me an email and I'll send it to you.
Tiga, go ahead.
Okay. Going back to the squad, Mr. Rudolph. It's been going out out there in the circle of Jamaica that Tapper doesn't have a free hand in selecting the team. Does Tapper have a free hand in selecting the team?
Definitely. I mean, even if he asked me my opinion, I told him I do have no opinion. That's how forthright I am with the team. So if there's somebody else telling him, oh, I'm sure it's not the president, because the president don't understand football to that level, right? In that technical for a national team, he does understand football, but not right. And I am sure he's not the general secretary either. And I am sure it's not me, Rudolph Speid, because even if they ask me opinion on the team, I have no opinion. And no coach, not one coach in Jamaica can ever say Rudolph Speid said to them to select a player for play on the national team. Any coach say that, I'll diss him straight up, right in front of him face, as bad as I can. So I don't know who's picking the team. And my encouragement in meeting is always, people, Tapper pick the team, leave him alone. Anybody ever say anything into the contrary, that has always been my stance. And I'm saying it again, no coach in Jamaica can ever, no national coach say I ever come and ask them to pick a particular player. None.
Okay. What can you tell the Jamaican people, the public, to ease our concerns? Because you know a lot of things are going around. People in the diaspora are worried. Everybody is saying, you know, JFF out. So what can you tell us to ease our worries, that we can have confidence in this JFF?
Right. So one of the reasons why we're having all of these resistance at this particular point is because of the same reason where we decide that we were going to have a paradigm shift from how we used to operate, and nobody liked changes. So once you try to put any governance structure in place to make sure that, you know, it's not a free for all, this is what happened. So it used to be first time we come to a game and we start negotiate 2 days or 2-3 days before the squad put together to go to a game as to what the remunerations is. What we decide is that we're going to be negotiating for 2.5 years. So whatever we decide now, it carry for 2 years, a 2 years contract. So we don't have to go back into this E&R. We also decide we're going to do budgeting. So unlike the previous administration left 200 million, 300 million, whatever the figure is in deficit, at this particular point, we reduce it and we're saying, hey, we're not going that route anymore. For one of the reasons that FIFA frowns upon it, because they say you're not supposed to run these deficits in a football organization. So we know that at the back of our minds. Also, last year, summer, was the first time the JFF has ever paid off all its debt to all players, male, female, all its coaches. So you can see where we're coming from. Usually we owe, and this is the first time we have paid them off. We don't owe a single dollar to any coach or player, male or female. So what we're trying to do is to progress like other more forward progressive countries. We're trying to make it progressive. A lot of people trying to keep it at the same space where it is. The JFF has actually improved its board and how it operates. And you can see that there's additions with talent, Dennis Chung, numerous other people as addition people who have real business acumens. And we're trying to get ourselves to be progressive and to become first world, to be as good as all the rest of good organization. JFF, right, under my technical leadership, don't believe that 47 is a good ranking. So everybody boasting about in the top 50. I personally believe that in 10 years' time, the JFF can rank in the 20s. If we stop fight and we win all of those games and everybody pull together. So don't blame the JFF, this current JFF, for what is happening. This problem that we're discussing was happening from 1994. If you can go back, I don't know how much I know about 1994, but this has always been a problem from we're going to the 98 World Cup. So at this particular stage, we realize that have to have a paradigm shift, and we know it costs us, right? And it costs the players, and we come like we're making this big war. But I think after this, when we establish certain rules of engagement and what is reasonable and what we can afford and how we're going to operate, I think from here on in is all uphill. Just think back, it might sound like it's a big issue, but if we had gone ahead and offer paid the 7,000 and had that $2 billion bill, because that's what it was going to cost us to pay what the players had asked for first, $2 billion for the tournament, the World Cup qualifiers and the World Cup. Then remember last World Cup, we didn't even reach it. The hexagonal run, we were knocked out in the round before that, and then we end up having the bills to pay. So I'm saying what we are looking at is to say, listen, we have to be reasonable with our budgeting, spend money on the senior team, but what about development? And if you have more time, it makes space. Do you realize that the best coach we have in Jamaica is a B license coach?
An E license?
B.
B? Was that Stopper?
And about 19 other persons, right? So I don't go 20 of us, including myself. B. There's what you call a A license, and there's what you call a pro license. All the rest of coaches they coaching are C and D. You know what that does? It means that we have 3 million person and 20 B license coach. Iceland that got to work with 300,000 person. They have 70 B license coach. So we have never been spending money on development because we all look and say, give the big team all of the money that you have, which is what we have been doing over the years. That is the reason why we don't have the requisite improvements, because we're not building from lower. So when this administration coming out, we had a talk and they asked me to serve. I said, listen, we have 4 things we have to fix. So the first one we fixed was a professional football arm. You guys saw what happened there, right? 4 times the amount of sponsorship is what that new arm get now than what we used to get first time, because we fix it and make it different. It's a pity football not playing. Then the next thing we're working on, we're building up a coaching school, which is phase 2, because we said by 2025, we must have at least 6 pro license coach, right? 40 A license coach and 200 B license coach, and we're serious about it. So that is one of the things that we need money to fix, right? Because we have 3,000 coaches in Jamaica, and it's only 900 of them have C and D license and 20 have B. You have any clue about any little coach in America have a B and an A license? How are you going to compete? We played St. Kitts a couple of years ago in the Olympic qualifier with 50,000 persons. St. Kitts won the tournament and advanced in the Olympic qualifier. when I look on the St. Kitts bench, is the same man who teach me B license was on the St. Kitts bench. Oh, me I go beat him. I'm just learn B license. So you see, so people don't dive into the depth of what we need to do in Jamaica. They just look on the one team and say, you know what, give them all the money that you have. That cannot happen.
That might be because of public education. The public doesn't really know about the licensing aspect of it. So
true. The next thing, all the top teams in Europe, they have this league under 13, under 15, under 17, under 19, under 21 with the professional clubs, right? All of them have this league. Jamaica has never played elite youth football. So we say, listen, we have to pump some money in our elite youth football. The best must play against the best all the time from their 13 years of age come up. So we're implementing that program too. We need money. Then, let me explain. The women football team can be the one that rank higher than the male team, easier.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of talent there. And we have to decide what we do with female football too. So all of those things, we're putting them the groundwork together to get those up and running. Because when I long run, it will benefit Jamaica immensely. So and that is one of the reasons why we had to draw a line somewhere and say, listen, we can only afford this for this, this for this, this for this, this for this, this for this. So we know the confrontation was coming, but we were prepared for the betterment of the football to have it and settle it right away.
Okay, good stuff. Good, very good stuff. Insightful stuff. Another question for you. Were you serious when you said that if the core players won't sign, JFF can dash them away?
I never said that. That's just a myth. What happened there is because my reputation preceded me. Is something that I will do, but right. I never said.
Okay.
Because everybody know my reputation as Cavalier. That's what I did and build the team better. So they are just making that up. I never said that, but it's something that I will do, and everybody know in the world that I will do it. But I never said that. I'm not the coach of the team. I can't say that. I don't pick it.
Do you think the traveling delegation is too small?
Which one of the traveling delegation?
For the matches. In the last match, we had 10 persons in the delegation. Do you think it's too small or it's too big?
Again, look here. We're just a team that ranked 47 in the world, and our economy is ranked 120. Our GDP is 120. I've seen Brazil come with 20 players and they carry 32 officials, 32 people to work with the team, because you have defense coach and you have
right.
midfield coach and striker coach and goalie coach and probably wingback coach and 3 physio and doctors, different doctors for different, so Jamaica really has to carry what they can afford. Some of the times, I'm the first to say that some of the time it's too big, and some of the time we have the wrong blend of who we need to go with the team, and it's something that we are looking at even as we speak, and even as we're speaking to the players. It's something that we're looking at, and we're going to fix it, because something is just true and something is not true. But I don't want to do too much in it, but it's something that we're concerned about, the board concerned about it, and we're going to fix it.
Okay, concerned about the smallness of it.
Or the largeness.
But I heard Taxi complaining that you have a 50-year-old equipment manager.
Oh, he's very good. That equipment manager, I can tell you, him is one of the best equipment manager. Him is world class. To be honest, that equipment manager is world class. What they want us to do is to give him some help, because I wouldn't want to move him. He's world class. He's one of the best there is. So to give him a second one, if it's necessary, we will do it. We don't have no issue with that.
Okay.
But all of those things cost money doing it. So remember,
we know. We're aware.
You have to realize some of those,
Okay. Mr. Speid, with all those things that you're proposing and the JFF is planning to do, to get the football on the right track. All right. at the end of this, or if we don't make it to the World Cup, do you think this present committee or this present people that in board should resign? Because it would be like a failure.
No, what I propose to better the football, they are long term, they're not short term. They have nothing to do with this World Cup. We're trying to produce better players for future World Cup, 26 and 30. Now, what you just said is, say that statement need like a fix up, because we have 211 teams in our world. So everybody that don't go to World Cup must resign. And we go one World Cup in 1998. So all of these people come, we try 5 at a time.
But Mr. Speed, hold on, Mr. Speed. They are saying that, it is widely saying that we have a team that is even better than the 98 football team, because we have the Baileys, and we have the Lows, and we have some good midfielders and stuff like that. We have players that are more professional than the players that play 98. So it should be easier for us to qualify. We have one of the top goalkeepers. You understand? They say he's even better than Warren Barrett. You understand? So it would be like a failing mission if we didn't make it to the World Cup with all these top players.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you that going to the World Cup is the most important thing. But USA didn't go to the last World Cup, and they have 100 million US to spend on their program yearly. We spend 5 million US, and they didn't go to the World Cup. So I don't know if talent alone is the reason why you go to the World Cup, but I believe we have a very good chance, and we are looking at every single thing that will make it better for us to go to the World Cup. There's a lot of things that we're not talking about, but we're buying analytic programs. We believe we're poor at analytics, and those things we're looking at to assess the players properly, because the eyes will deceive you when it comes to player performance. The eyes will deceive you, because you're just looking at certain things. So we are going down that particular road, and we're not going to leave any stones unturned to try and get to the World Cup. So it's something that we're serious in, but as I said before, it can't be at all costs. It cannot be at all costs when we finish, because there's no guarantee. So if we go to the World Cup, everybody happy. That is something that we're trying to do. But I don't know who you want to fire, but if it's me you're talking about, since it's my interview, you should know me by now. I work for every president. Borrell, who used to cuss every day, him still asks me for work for him, Boxhill, Ricketts. So if somebody says Speed, I don't want anymore, I don't have no issue. I just go back to what I love.
Mr. Speed, with everything in place right now, do you think Jamaica can qualify for the World Cup, or what we need to do to qualify for the World Cup?
Well, first, what we really need is unity, because the English players, a few of them has expressed that them feel like a way, because it looked like some players don't want them. So that needs to be cleared up so we can be on one accord. I think that the composition of the team with the talents that we have available now could be different from teams that we have fielded before. So when everybody needs to be comfortable with that. The amount of English-based players who are popping up and saying, I want to play, gives you an idea of the quality of the squad.
Yeah.
I think that, whatever fractions between the JFF and the players, but the fractions, between the JFF and the players won't be healed overnight. But if we can start at a position where we start to stop thinking about back and just move forward and be open and transparent with what we're doing going forward from both sides. I think if we stop coming on the social media, I know you guys get ratings from it, but if we stop coming on there and cussing out each other, I think, and then the coaching staff, technical staff, and everybody in sync and working together, I think we can get there. It's not beyond us. I personally don't believe Mexico should beat us any time at all in any game. I don't mind go to why hear it, but it's not honest.
Time for we start beat them now, man.
Right. And Honduras and those teams, El Salvador, Costa Rica, I don't say they beat us. But as I said before, if we get that influx of top talent from England mixed with what we have, I think we can have a very good chance. And I'm thinking that we should qualify. I remember what I said before up front, Jamaica should be ranking at the 20s based on all out we have. That's I personally believe.
Okay. Another query. Taxi stated that he had an issue with flight. He had flight issues once so he was going to such a place and he and the same players going to the same place. The 4 players were going on business class and he was flying in coach. What are the flight arrangements made for the players wherever they're coming from on any given match day?
Well, I'm going to say, let me answer it in 2 ways. One, we traveled about 30 persons, 35 persons when we leave in Jamaica. We add the staff and the players, 23 squad and about 12 players. On average, is 35 persons. The JFF really can't afford to send people first class on those flights. I live another life. A flight to England at $11,000 for first class, depending on when you book it, between 7 and 11,000. So we just can't afford that, none at all, right? The JFF tries to, if a player, for instance, we left 10 days before we go to Austria, right? Then we'll pick economy because it's not the same stress, right, to reach. But if a player play like say Thursday evening and we have a match Saturday, and him play Thursday evening and him flying out at the same time after in the evening, then clearly we try to give him a first class ticket because we understand, say, him peeing up, him run for 90 minutes, etc., etc. What happened in that particular flight, I don't know the details. If all of that is on the up, it's unfortunate that it happened and it shouldn't have happened. I am saying I'm from the JFF, but it still shouldn't happen if that's what happened. Problem is, I think that taxi could have made send to the JFF and tell us that this happened, because some of the time, if you don't know something, you can't fix it. And in all the negotiation from last summer, he has never ever brought it up one time and said, so this happened to me, why? So we could investigate it. So since it happened, I have asked somebody to investigate it for me to see if it is true. Or did the English player upgrade their ticket? I don't know. You see, because that could happen too. So but I'm saying it should never ever happen. And for that, and if it happened, I would apologize to him and therefore JFF, but it should never ever happen.
That's true, because that kind of creates a rift that and kind of boosts the existing trust issues that the players say they have against the JFF.
Right, but I don't know if that's the details, But let me explain. Sometimes the president of fly and the people him send him a first class ticket. What is he going to do? Take it and go around at the back? So we have to understand some things is not what it seems. Sometimes a president will come to a rich nation and the nation say, President, we're going to send you a ticket when they talk about the match, you understand? And then because some people, when we went to Saudi Arabia, they had 45 rooms for the Jamaicans. We used 38. They could have said, Speid, just pay your fare and give you a free room. And I would probably go. So somebody would see me on the tour and believe that the JFF paid for me.
Definitely, we would have said that.
Right. So when I was the treasurer, when we played England, I was the treasurer of the JFF. I paid my own fare, As a matter of fact, I have that reputation. I always pay my fare. So because of these same things that players will talk about. So I am not in any fear about anybody saying Speid want a trip or want to or what, because he won't per diem. I'm not in that group of people. So if you ever see me on a trip, most likely I'm pay for myself. I mean, that's how I operate, because I'm a nationalist. I want to support it. I don't want anything from the programs. So that's really the difference between me. But some of those things is not true, but you just don't know the details of it.
Right. So do you, so that the plans going forward to sort out the trust issues, can you list them?
Yes. No, I don't. We're looking. I mean, it's not like a secret, right? But what we're looking at is to form of a halfway house or a committee that just deal with that alone. So if a player have a problem, of course, make sure some more player representative on it than if persons will look on it and deal with it right away to some player satisfaction. So we're looking at that. That is one of the things that we're looking at going forward. As I said before, negotiations are really going well. And I don't want to say too much so them feel like we're leak the thing. But negotiations are really going well with the players, and it's something that we know we're going to solve in the near future, probably a couple of weeks the most.
Okay. So the contractual terms or the contracts that are being done now will be the way going forward where negotiations are concerned.
Well, we're trying to get a 2-year contract, so we don't have to come back and every match we're talking about money. We just play ball. Right. That's what we're trying.
Okay, that sounds like.
So that is why the contract is so wide ranging. That's why it's so complex to negotiate, because you have the World Cup qualifiers in it, you have the World Cup in it, you have the Nations League in it, you have the international friendly, and you have friendly for people over teams rank over 30, and friendly for is a different rate for teams rank under 30. So all of those is in it, and that is why it's a kind of complex to negotiate.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Speid, as we're wrapping up now, what advice would you give to young aspiring footballers who want to be a part of the Jamaica football team?
Well, one of the things that we came up with was to have an established player pathway in one of the recommendations from the Technical and Development Committee. So we have a grassroots program. So find yourself in the grassroots program. After that, we're going to have under 13 and under 15 parish competitions. So find yourself in one of those parish teams. So you get the development and the competition. And then the Premier League clubs is going to take over from 17 and 19. And we're trying to have a tier 2 professional league also. So you'll have, instead of 16 Premier League clubs, you're going to have like 34. Sorry, professional clubs, you're going to have like 34. So what we are telling the players, say, listen, these are the pathway. We're going to be keeping track of all the players in those elite youth competitions right up till they are selected for the national under 15, national under 17, national under 20. We're building a database to keep track of all of those players. And so that is the player pathway. When we come to the professional teams, what we have done is to say each professional team must have 8 players in the squad under a certain age, under 20. So players, that's your pathway if you want to become a national player. We made it very clear. We're going to sensitize everybody about it.
Okay. I see where other nations, right? The players, like you see where they debut 16-year-old, 17-year-old players, senior teams. Is it difficult for Jamaica to do that also?
Well, yes. Yes and no. You'll find in certain teams in the country that will happen. But there's other teams that is not made up. Like, all right, so in the Premier League, for instance, the professional league, you'll find teams that has the Harbour Views, the Portmore, the Cavalier, they have a straight business model. Not, they're not their own business. You'll find other teams that have a business and a political model. So the business model team will more likely play those players at that age. And you have seen that with those teams. Those teams will invest a lot of money in their youths. So for instance, we at Cavalier will go to Cayman at under 13, Mexico at under 15, Europe at under 17, and we will carry the players to match up with the best the world has to offer. Harbour View does it, Mount Pleasant does it now, and Portmore does it. But if you go further than that, you'll not find other teams who are willing to spend that money on the youths to get that experience. So if you look in those teams, you'll find those players that you're talking about. But the majority of teams in Jamaica, no, they're not doing it.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Sir Speid. We really appreciate you taking this meeting on such short notice. And we want to thank you. Thank you for...
Not so short, Tyrone. I owned me for about 2 weeks.
Boy. Yeah, man, we wanted to hear the JFF side because pure guess and spelling happening, and we have to be, we're not sure what is happening on JFF side, so we
I
need to
think
hear
what
from.
is happening is the reputation of a JFF, just like my reputation precede me. The reputation of the JFF from before is still with us, or following us, and people just go back to that type of mode once you say JFF. They must say, oh, and they go back and they believe everything. But that's not the case. We're very professional. We keep meetings on time. We have our board meetings. We have our AGM. This JFF we have professional people in all the committee, finance. So when I for instance, my committee asked the coach for a plan. Or you're going to qualify for the World Cup. He did the plan. We pass it over to finance. Finance look at it and say, okay, this will cost X amount. We go to the board approve it. When the claims come in and we look at what the claims are, we can't afford it. So finance will never approve it. So you see, it's not just, oh, give them on this, or the president comes like first time, the former president will just come and say, all right, we go take a loan and pay, That's not gonna happen. We're running it like a real life business. I want to leave one last thing with you, where a lot of people don't know. Did you know that the Companies Act of Jamaica actually says, if you as a director spend money recklessly and carelessly, money that you know you don't have, and persons sue you for it in the future, the directors will become personally liable for those debts. Personally liable for those debts.
Really?
That's what
we didn't know that.
Yes. So when people say just give them, what they are saying that eventually when we can't pay the players, when they sue us, and footballers are allowed to sue federation now because of civil suit, they are allowed now, FIFA allow it, they're not going to ban them, then the person will come and take away my house and my family house and my family car as a director.
Wow.
So just remember that.
Wow. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you tell us how the fans can reach you? Social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Say I am on all of those, but me kind of really know use them. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, but me just
laid back.
Yeah, I don't have a time for that. Remember, every work that I do for JFF is free. So I have to make a living.
Okay.
I don't get any pay. I don't go on the trips. So everything I do is free, FREE free. So I really don't have, I have a lot of other stuff to do. So some of the time I'm not, but I'm on Twitter and I am on Facebook. So you can reach me.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Speid, for joining us. And thank you, fans, for watching another episode of Sports Down the Middle. Once again, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please do so by clicking that red button right down there and clicking the notification bell so you can be updated every time we send out our content. Be blessed.